Greetings gamers, welcome to Eurogamer and a very special Let's Play today. I'm at Bohemia Studios and we're going to be playing a little bit of Arma 3's Operation Zeus, is it?
Not quite. It's the just Zeus DLC.
Zeus.
Or just Zeus.
Or just Zeus. But what we have to begin with, we have a new fixed-wing aircraft for Op4. We have this, a couple of new trucks. So we maybe show you this, and then Carol, the lead designer on Zeus, he can put together a Zeus scenario maybe on top of it.
Throw some lightnings.
Throw some lightning down.
That would be pretty awesome if we get to see some lightning. So I should explain that I'm joined by J. Crow, the game designer.
Great.
Creative director.
There you
go. I've got my notes completely wrong then already. Karl Maritsky, and you are the...
I'm a lead designer on
You're
Zeus.
the lead designer. Okay, cool. So yeah, first off, show us these new items.
Well, what you see in front of us here is like I said, the new fixed-wing aircraft for our CSAT faction.
The bad guys.
The bad guys, yeah. Maybe it's worth mentioning that this aircraft is part of episode 3 of our campaign. That's due to come out at the end of March. So alongside the campaign missions, the story, we have a few sandbox assets, this being one of them. I know the community are really looking forward to getting their hands on this. And alongside that, we have a couple of new trucks too. Basically, we wanted to update this faction, give them their own identity with their trucks. They were sharing a vehicle with the AAF before. Now they've got their own badass trucks, and they're really cool.
So are these responses to fan feedback asking for new vehicles, or are this just things that you've wanted to add?
A bit of both. I think we always wanted to add these fixed wing particularly. The trucks just give a bit more variation, differentiation in between the factions. But particularly, the jets. We've been looking forward to these for a while, and episode 3 gives us a chance to show them off to the guys.
It looks, the model looks great. Inside, is it all authentically modelled?
Yeah, it's one of our best models, if I can say that. Really, the artists have poured a lot of effort into that. We've actually done a few different things compared to what we've seen before. These are called MFDs, so the displays that you see in the cockpits. We're trying a few different things with that. These are going to hit Dev Branch in, I suppose, a couple of weeks' time now. So I wouldn't want to confirm any technology until it's exactly 100% finished. But if I get into the air, I can show off some of the features of it.
I like how you're saying if, not when.
I'd be no good. Whenever I play games with planes or helicopters in, I'm normally into the ground or a building after about 2 seconds in the air.
Yeah, well, infantry is definitely still the heart of Arma 3. It's what I like the most as well. But I think fixed-wing aircraft definitely have their role to play, and they can really work with the infantry as well, like they're a complement. This is a close air support aircraft, so you have guys on the ground calling in fire missions, laser designating something. These guys fly over the top, rain down some death. That's kind of what they're there for, and we're looking forward to unleashing them on the community very soon. If I can just zoom in here, we've got fully sort of animated model. It is still work in progress, I would emphasize, but we're really happy with the quality of the model. Definitely quality over quantity is something that we've talked about a lot with Arma 3, and these planes really demonstrate what we can do when we put a little bit more effort into it. We're not talking about simulation level, the great stuff that things like DCS do. It's definitely still just part of the Arma 3 sandbox, and it doesn't stand out too much from that. It just complements it. But we're really happy to finally get a chance to release it.
It's got there's a nice field of view on the cockpit, isn't there? You can see a lot of peripheral vision.
Yeah, which is important when you're flying at high speed. But we can also really get in there and see some of the details of it. If I change weapons, actually, we should be able to see they highlight in green now.
Down the bottom right.
And we can see that when we fire them, Independence Day style. Now it disappears, so
Fox 2!
Fox 2! you know what?
When you fly a redneck into a spaceship.
Maybe a model at that. Maybe make that for the Make Arma Not War competition and see how it goes.
Someone make an Independence Day model.
Exactly. I know Yaris would like to see that.
They did actually the Flashpoint ever those planes from Independence Day, those alien planes.
Oh really?
Model.
That would be awesome. And If we can get Will Smith punching an alien in the face as well, that would be even better.
But the animations for that
cigar
would
animation
be
afterwards.
amazing.
Welcome to Earth. So does this fly, it handles differently to the other planes in the game?
It's in the middle of being configured, but yes, definitely we want each plane to have a bit more of a characteristic identity. And yeah, like I said, when we get this on Dev Branch, we'll be expecting a lot of feedback from it as well, help us really work out those kinks. But right now, yeah, it handles in its own way.
So how do you go about making sure that these models feel authentic? Do you get genuine fighter pilots to ever come in and test, or is it more?
Well, with our helicopters, we did have some from the Czech armed forces. We have some Hind pilots for our previous, one of the previous projects I worked on, Take on Helicopters Hind DLC. We got some of the guys to come in and give us some of their feedback about that, and they really enjoyed playing it. But no, we haven't got a legitimate fighter pilot to come in. Although it might have been useful, so we could have avoided
for
crashing.
that flying bit. Yes. Yeah.
Carol's going to set up a Zeus mission, just to sort of introduce it in its most basic form. It's something like the idea of a game master. It's real-time editing of scenarios, so placing units, placing vehicles, placing mission flow, gameplay, making it all on the fly in this new 3D editor. Primarily, it's a multiplayer DLC, so it's designed for a human game master to play with his friends, either in co-op or PvP. But Carol here is also happening to demonstrate it in single player. It works like this as well, and I think for the purposes of this introduction, it can be fine just to give you the idea of what it's capable of.
So right now I'm normal soldier, and anytime when it's configured, I can switch to Zeus interface. I see me here. We provide some missions. This is straight from editor. I quickly set it up. This is none of the missions. In our missions, Zeus is actually more like virtual entity, so he cannot be killed. But here, if I would throw lightning on myself, yes, I wouldn't survive it. So what we see here now is I can fly anywhere. I've got a full view from the aerial perspective, and I can quickly build some mission. So maybe I can quickly switch to some more interesting daytime and make the very wars. Like this is not just commander mode. This is actual full game master. So I have more godly powers. I'm not some base or headquarters who's just sending units. I'm actually changing the whole mission on the fly. So maybe a bit later in the evening. This game looks most gorgeous at night. So now I'm skipping time. I see it immediately, but for example, what I actually added today is that players would see it not immediate skip, but they will have some screen like several hours later. So now we are at night, so maybe I can switch to night vision. Oh, it actually started training. Zeus actually quite works in this engine pretty well, because the whole engine is dynamic, like dynamic weather, dynamic daytime, and that's actually what gives the Zeus most power. Like actually most of the things which we have in Zeus, they were already there. As I said, the whole AI, the dynamic, maybe it's too dark. Let me switch to actually to early morning. There was actually interesting stuff about Zeus when we realized it's not that revolutionary. We were just basically using the engine as it is and just put an interface on top of it.
Maybe you could show what happens when you put some units and how really building the mission and the mission flow works.
Yeah. So it looks like a fairly kind of simple interface to build these missions. I'm guessing that if you have a lot of time on your hands, there you could make a real complicated, lengthy campaign. Carol
here is building a mission sort of on the fly. So we've started blank canvas, places, things. But what you can also do is create as complex mission as you like in the editor. Just place this Zeus functionality on top of it, and then just tweak elements of that. And I think that sort of freedom will allow, particularly our community, to make the scenarios they really want to make. And and without having to set up all of these basic things. But at its most basic, really, we're able to, as Carl said, place units on the fly, and then create some dynamic gameplay based on the situation, based on whatever we want to do. But there are some options there.
There do look like a lot of assets to choose from, actually, going through those.
Right now, so when I run from editor, every asset in the game is available. I can all these domes. I can build them even like new ones. I can build whole new base, which can be a bit overwhelming. You don't need to do that, or you can just use already existing terrain, which offers so many possibilities, and just, for example, include units.
The units there that you've put down, they're moving around. Is that just random AI, or can you program paths?
Well, I wouldn't call it random, but it's AI. It's planning path as best it can do, and like the thing is, this is not real time strategy. When I order enemies when I order units to go somewhere, they will go there only as long as they consider it a smart move. So if I would send a group of soldiers in the middle of tank group, they wouldn't reach it because they would realize this is nonsense. So it's more like I'm giving AI recommendations sort of where to go, and they will then choose to obey.
Basically, it's similar to the 2D editor. You can give AI waypoints, so they will move in this general direction, but they will decide the best way to attack. For example, in this situation, there are tanks. They'll work out the best path to choose, even if they have a general objective to go into this base sort of thing.
So you've put two opposing forces next to each other.
Yes.
Attack. That's quite cool. So you could build two massive armies and just.
Well, you can do. We have three sides in our game, so you could have a three-way fight here. At the moment, Carl's just placed some CSAT and NATO, blue and red forces. We also have the FIA, the independent forces. So you could really have a three-way battle going on, all with human players, each even with their own game master working against each other. It's a very flexible and powerful system.
So multiple game masters.
Yeah.
Like the system is modular, and it allows as many game masters as mission designer will prepare there. So
dropping down, is that a flare?
Yeah, I drop a flare, and maybe some more audio, so I can choose to play some more sound. So maybe alarm or distant.
Alarm can get annoying.
Yes. So I can put there some battlefield ambience, so like distance explosion, battle ambience.
So Zeus is out for people to play on the.
In the development branch. This is not full release. It's still only in the more experimental branch of the game, which people have to enable manually. And yes, it's sort of beta phase, so it can be broken.
So what are the most kind of impressive things you've seen players build? You know, has anything really surprised you?
Well, it's not out for too long, but I already have seen some interesting. Well, when guy built for his friends a base on the top of the hill, like a base with those container towers, created a lot of back fences and fortifications around, and then was sending waves, basically attacking waves at the people, and was like giving them horde mode scenario. So I've got some parachutes going here.
Do you have a date yet when it will be released into the wild? So
well, second quarter of this year, so I think starting April. But which is 2 months from now, and in that time, I hope I will get rid of all most pressing issues and mostly add some features which people are demanding over now. My favorite module, actually, which can do quite a lot of effect, is just tracers.
That's kind of like
effect of distant fire.
So you can really build up the atmosphere then.
Precisely. Yeah.
So from a player's point of view, like here Zeus is sort of creating this scenario, but from a player's point of view, he can also create tasks. So if you're on the ground, imagine you're one of these guys. Yeah. Zeus can also provide some tasks. So say defend or seize this position.
Well, I would even say not can, but he should.
He will.
So I can quickly put there a sector. I want. If I look at the map, it's already visualized. It's even visualized here, like a list of sectors, and now opposing factions can fight for it.
So basically, in 5 minutes, he can create a small sector control mission.
Okay.
Yeah, like let's put another sector here. I don't know how the city is called. Or let's keep it as it's called, and we'll be like Bravo. Meanwhile, I can put there some respawn points. So right now we're playing. We have no players actually here, but what's important for players is I can play respawn point here, maybe next to it vehicle respawn point, and I have some scripting error which I will have to fix. And now actually when we have vehicle respawn, I should put there also some vehicles. So let's give them quad bike, and I can mark it that it will be respawnable.
So the game, when we launched, we had a few official game modes, so seize and defend, where we'd have locations and these things set up in advance. So the thing that's really cool about Zeus, in terms of our own missions, is we can build on top of those with the Zeus variants of them. So our previous missions that have been tested and out there in the wild for some good time, we can now change the experience of those entirely by adding this Zeus element, and then it's up to the game master to really curate the flow of the mission, or indeed fight against another game master and have his own sort of objectives and gameplay.
So we've got enemy forces incoming, but Blue 4 is not yet lost. Maybe they could start shelling some mortars. So now we can hear whistling sounds of mortars, and I can provide some fire support. As you can see, that they are not, the explosions won't appear there immediately, which would be a bit unfair against players. So there's like 10 to 20 seconds, and the players will also receive some radio warning, like incoming fire, take cover. So even while Zeus has quite a lot of powers, I'm trying to give players some warning or some helpers.
Maybe it's worth mentioning that this is the sort of the God mode version, and there are also ways of limiting Zeus's power.
Yeah, what I have here now is I've completely unlimited, but every object can have assigned a cost. So, and if I will be getting more and more objects, I will deplete my resources, and I will have to wait until they get replenished.
Strikes me that this is something you could make some really kind of impressive machinima with, maybe. Is there a way to disable all
that? By pressing one key I can get rid of a whole interface, and I can I call it screenshot mode, but it can be used for videos. I guess live streamers will love it, because I can go anywhere on the battlefield and I can watch any interesting situation there is. So now we see helicopter engaging, is it infantry or... I have no idea actually what there's infantry. But so now let's give them a bit more chance against the helicopter. So I put there some A soldiers, and hopefully they will engage. So this is mission we created in what, 10 minutes. Of course, as a Zeus, I have no players, so I'm doing whatever I want. But as a Zeus with players, I have to make sure that I'm not creating anything in front of players. Like it would be a bit off-putting if you were playing a game and suddenly an enemy tank appears on top of you. However, in missions we provide, we have some restriction zones for Zeus. So let's say 100 or 200 meters around players, he can't build anything. So I think the AA guys miserably failed.
Blackfoot's pun.
Worst aim ever. So it's good that you've managed to incorporate a kind of God mode, but also make it balanced and work as a
Yeah, and it's fully moddable, so people can, like our community can create missions with it and really limit what you can build. I still have idea for a mission which I'd like to make, is where Zeus can't build any units, and it's at night. Players would have no night visions, and Zeus could spawn like lights for them, so he could put fire flares in the air. Well, it didn't work well.
Well, I think it's worth
flares in the air, cam lights, and or turn off street lamps, so he would guide them by light.
But I think it's worth mentioning that although we're just playing a very freeform mode here, where we're basically making up whatever we want, a lot of the guys in our internal testing have been trying to play as sort of as a more high command role, so a more authentic military approach to the missions, and being able to. You can do whatever you want with it. So it means, you can spawn lightning, you can spawn helicopters from nowhere, but you can also take a much more considered, measured approach to the mission. I know a lot of the gaming communities around Arma 3 will be able to use a tool like this and make them more authentic scenarios, and they just have a bit more control over them than in the past.
Yeah, I've got to admit, I'd probably spawn a field full of sheep or cows and then blow them up. Can you do that?
Absolutely.
Can the cows yet have
We don't have.
parachutes?
We have
Oh yeah.
cows.
Can the goats have
Goat?
parachutes yet?
No, they can't. So
There's going to be that goat simulator game. isn't there?
Okay,
This is even better. if
I
we
have
can-
a goat here, and I think.
Ultimate goat
Oh,
sandbox.
lightning goat. Oh, that's amazing.
I really hope the RSPCA are. It's definitely against some laws of war. Here you go.
See, yeah, I can.
Well, the thing with lightning, it's incredibly powerful, but it's got very small area effect. So I put it here, and this goat just doesn't.
Put it on top though.
Yes, and
And
the
it's,
goat.
oh, nice.
All right.
I
think that
That's
was.
gonna, that's
I
gonna
would
be a
have hours
gift
of
now.
fun.
That was a bit cruel. Well, but when it comes speaking of animals, I really like seagulls. You know, in movies when there's some dramatic scene, you're sneaking through the forest and suddenly a flock of birds. So we have it as well. So you can really warn players something is coming. Like you want, like they don't have their sectors covered, and suddenly you want to warn them. Okay, enemies near you. But also there is something more like Easter egg. Oh, sorry, not this. I've got, of course, butterflies.
Ah. Even war can be beautiful.
Yes. I like to spawn butterflies every time I see some marksman lying in the grass scouting enemy. So I know he's static and suddenly butterflies in front of me. And all these modules, they are our official ones, but of course community can create their own modules, and I'm planning to expand on them. So we saw jets, and with jets I would want to bring module like bombing run. I just place a module, a jet will arrive, drop bombs, like carpet bombing, could disappear again, so you don't need to spawn it manually and give it waypoints.
So yeah, finally, I guess this Zeus DLC. How do you see it kind of making Arma 3 last? Do you think it's going to add a whole load more longevity to it? Is it almost like a never-ending game now, with people being able to create their own content?
Well, the game will continue as long as players will, because now the missions are even more than ever before under their control. Of course, classical missions will still continue there. Like you can't build single player with this, and single player you can still. It's very powerful for creating powerful stories. And I'm not saying Zeus can't create story, but sometimes you want to play something really pre-designed and really polished, and that's it. The single player will still dominate it. Zeus can barely touch it. But in multiplayer, there's so many possibilities, and there's as many possibilities as there is players.
One of the things we're really aiming to do is get this released alongside the Make Arma Not War competition. We think it's a really interesting tool. We're looking forward to see what modders out there can make with it, and submit to the competition and see if it's popular, how it goes.
This Black Hawks is ultimate. It just destroyed the whole tank platoon after getting rid of previous tank
Did
platoon.
you just spawn that in and
Well,
completely?
I think,
What have you done?
but I can of course apply my godly powers, and
Oh no!
I'm
you've
so sorry.
self-destructed it. No, goodbye. Find the black box.
And yes, you're saying find a black box.
Yeah.
All right. So I give custom objective find a black box. And now I switch to back to player, and I've got task find a black box.
Oh, that's awesome.
And now, if I would have to go there, of course. 800
Yeah.
meters, that's too far. And of course, yeah, 800 meters is too far in a 270 kilometer square
Yeah.
island, so it's pretty much nothing.
Well, I think it's good that Carol showed the player's point of view, because as much as this is a new mode for game masters, and with this new interface, completely different way of playing, we also really think it changes how players can experience multiplayer.
Let's say somebody survived. So I put their pilot, put him in the air. Now I should see him. Yeah.
So from the player's point of view, you're in this world where you're given tasks, kind of reacting to what you're doing. So it's a much more, engaging experience, because if it's a good game master, then he's reacting to what you're doing and and giving you an even better mission.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Sometimes it can happen that you as a game master will plan this awesome scene, or you will set up the scene, and then players will do something completely unexpected and will ignore your scene and disregard what you planned for them, and you will have to adapt. So it's not that you would be really that powerful, because you still need to follow players and they need to follow you. There's a sort of symbiosis. Of course, if you're really good and very manipulative and cunning, you can still manipulate people to go in specific directions. Like what I like for directing people in certain areas, or more likely restricting them, is minefields. I can place here some AT mines, anti-vehicle mines. But the thing is, it would be again a bit unfair if players wouldn't know about them. So what I'm doing is that they are visible in the map. There's marker and approximate zone. But the thing is, even if there's only 2 of them, the marker will be there. So players will know there is a mine, but they don't know is it just 1 or is it 10 of them. But unless they are really courageous, they'll still probably try to avoid this area. And if I put many of these areas, I can direct players in some specific place.
So it sounds like if you can get into a game with an amazing games master, like someone who's really creative, that you could have like these incredible one-of-a-kind adventures. Is there are you going to have a way to reward games masters for being good, like any kind of rating system that people can say this guy was a great games master or this guy was rubbish?
Well, we would eventually, or we would want some rating that you finish a mission, and you could give some rating to Zeus, for example, stars, or if you like it or not. But right now, it's not on completely our priorities. We're trying to finish the system itself. Where's the pilot?
He's run off. He's hiding.
Adapt!
He knows you're after him.
Yes. There's the pilot.
Strike him with lightning.
No, there would be a bit on. Well, what?
Go on. It'd be a great way to end the Let's Play.
I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry.
Give him a mission complete. Oh, mission failed.
Oh, he's toast.
The mission was to find a black boat, so I'm not sure. Nah, he had it with himself, so sorry. I failed.
You didn't get there before. Zeus blew him up.
Terribly sorry.
He's dead. Well, thank you very much for demoing part of Zeus. It looks great, and I'm sure everyone watching is going to be even more excited to get their hands on it when it's finally released.
Yes, in Q2 this year. But if you're interested, go sign for the development branch and play already.
Oh, so have you got a web address or anything where people can sign up?
It's on Steam.
On Steam.
If you own Arma on Steam, you own Zeus. You just need to go to settings in Steam and opt in for development branch.
Yeah, but if you do want like a basic overview of what this free DLC is all about, Zeus.arma3.com. We got the trailer, we got the basic description of what we talked about here. So have a look at that if you're interested. Either wait for our release in Q2, or if you're feeling up for it, jump onto Dev Branch and start playing with some of your friends. Brilliant.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks to everyone for watching. Please do subscribe and like the video. Got loads more exclusive content coming up here on Eurogamer's YouTube channel. Interactive Let's Plays, early gameplay previews, and exclusive developer interviews are some of the wonderful stuff we've got for you guys coming up in the coming months. Bye!